Welcome to the Irresistible Woman podcast, your place to learn how to attract the right man this year with confidence and ease. I'm your host, Madeline Charles, and I want to talk to you today about how the era of just heal your attachment style is over and what actually changes how men respond to you. I don't know about you, but I feel like there was a time, I don't know, gosh, 10, 15 years ago, where attachment styles really became this buzzword. Like the book Attached came out, which I love. It's a wonderful resource. But suddenly everyone was like, oh my gosh, I'm anxious, I'm avoidant, I'm somewhere in the middle, like I'm all of the things. And it became easy to kind of label yourself through that lens. And we love attachment theory. We love understanding ourselves deeply here. However, I think there is more that we are craving now as women to really create embodied, lasting change in our love life, where it's not just about more dating advice. It's not just about more labels and boxes to put ourselves in. It's not just about more information and passively listening to things and like hoping something clicks. I think so many women right now are craving just a different experience of love, a different experience of going through their day-to-day life, a different experience of being in their bodies. And none of that happens just from more things up here. It really is an embodied shift from the neck down. You might feel yourself in what I'm talking about here, where you are successful on paper. Maybe you have an incredible life. You've worked very hard for what you've received or not. We love that too, right? But maybe you have a lot of good things going on for you, and yet you're still emotionally exhausted. It still feels like you can't really relax in your life. It still feels like there's that kind of low pitch hum in the background of anxiety of just kind of always waiting for things to fall apart, anticipating the next problem, trying to kind of control and grip your way forward, um, really wanting to soften in your life, wanting meaningful connection, wanting to feel safe, owning the fullness of your desires, wanting to feel nourished as a woman, right? Maybe in love, it feels really sticky for you. Maybe love is a really tender place where all of those old wounds and insecurities pop up, where you can feel really confident and self assured in your career, or with your family, your friends, and the way that you take care of your body and your health. But when it comes to love, suddenly you feel like you're a 16-year-old teenager again, second guessing what to say and how to act. And you're like, what is happening? Like, I am competent in every other area of my life. And in love, it just feels different. Maybe it feels like you've been overperforming a little bit, overfunctioning, trying to prove yourself to men. Or maybe you've gotten really discouraged and you've just kind of put love on the back burner, even though that is the one part of your life that feels like it is really missing. And there is an ache that is alive within you for deep partnership. And you just don't know how to put the pieces together. I hear you. If you relate to any of these things, I've certainly been there. These are the things that I support women with every day in my coaching practice. And this is all of what has inspired the Irresistible Woman Activation Live, my 3-day in-person coaching immersive experience happening this fall in Denver, Colorado. And as I was dreaming up the vision for year 5, it's wild that we've put this on for 5 years now. I was thinking about how this event is really being called to evolve to meet the needs and desires of women in modern dating right now. And the realization that relationship transformation is no longer just about like, let's understand your attachment style. Let's look at your childhood stuff. Let's like dig into the past and the wounds and all of those things. It's really about supporting the whole woman because how you show up in one area of your life is how you show up everywhere. And things that you might feel like are kind of separate or different right now, I guarantee there's parallels. So the shift really becomes how you go from not just like, how do I attract men? How do I date better? How do I attract someone I'm actually interested in? To instead becoming deeply connected to yourself, right? When women come to me and they're like, what dating app should I get on? Why am I not attracting anyone I'm interested in? Or why are guys, flaking out after the first couple of dates or after a few messages on the app? Those things are a symptom of a deeper opportunity you have to look at the relationship you have to yourself. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about the live event here in a little bit, but just kind of like broadly zooming out here, these are some themes that have become really apparent in the work I'm doing with women in my own experience. And I think it's just reflective of things that we're collectively craving right now. So I'm going to share some of these and I want you to even reflect for yourself like, "Ooh, yeah, that's a gap for me or that's an area of opportunity." So nervous system expansion and embodiment. Notice I didn't say nervous system regulation. I think that that is a buzzword that's being thrown around a lot right now, like how to regulate your nervous system, how to stay calm, how to stay grounded. And I prefer instead to think of nervous system work as nervous system expansion because regulation is just one part of the puzzle, and regulation is not always the end goal. The end goal is not for you to always feel just like calm and just like grounded and, not reactive, not activated in your love life. Having an activation, feeling feelings is a good thing. So we don't always want to try to shut that down. And instead, it's about expanding your capacity to be with the intensity of emotions that come up in the dating and relationship experience, right? To be with the intensity of, oh my gosh, there's a vulnerability here of this guy really getting to know me, or there's a vulnerability here of really kind of getting my hopes up and getting excited and not exactly knowing where this is going to go. Or there's a vulnerability in me speaking a desire, a need, a deeper truth in a way that maybe I haven't had the courage to share before with men. And there's a chance that he's not going to be able to meet me in that way. And I'm going to have to sit with that. Right. So love stirs up all kinds of activating emotions. And when you can expand your capacity to feel safe through that range of emotional expression, rather than just trying to regulate yourself into calm and grounded energy, you then have the ability to be with a fuller range of intimacy, which is what's required to be in a long lasting, healthy, thriving relationship. And this kind of ties into the work I do with women around identifying what I call your intimacy threshold, because we each have a point in the dating and relationship journey, whether it's like just initially messaging with guys online. Sometimes that can be incredibly activating, or it's after the first few dates and things are looking really promising, or once you're about to become exclusive with a guy, or you're about to move in, or you're getting engaged, or whatever it might be. There are different points in the relationship building journey where we kind of hit that threshold and we're like, whoa, okay, I was feeling calm, I was feeling grounded, now I'm feeling activated. And if you don't have the ability to expand your capacity to be in those feelings, that's where funky, like self-sabotaging patterns can pop up. And so I think women are now becoming aware that, ooh, I've got triggers. Ooh, I've got limiting beliefs. Ooh, I got funky ways that I show up and push away the very thing that I want. That's interesting, right? Like we have so much intellectual knowledge, but we don't yet often have the ability to work with our body and bring our body online to not just have insight, but to bring it into embodiment. So I think that that's a big piece that is missing for a lot of women right now. I think also health. I work with a lot of women in midlife, not all of my clients, but a good chunk. And, their body is changing. Um, Hormones are flaring, like things are happening. Maybe how they feel about themselves physically is shifting. There's a lot that can come up around vitality and just energy and, feeling sexy in your skin as your body is ebbing and flowing. And I think that that is a big thing that women are craving right now is understanding more of how to feel confident, attractive, magnetic, even when their body looks different than it once did, even when their energy is ebbing and flowing. So I think that that piece is really key. Um, Wealth and self-worth. So if you've been tuning into this podcast for a while, you know that I've always brought in parallels around money and men because there are a lot of connections there. And it's fascinating when you can start to look at, ooh, the way that I relate to my money mindset and my finances. Oh, there's some correlations here with how I'm showing up in love. So I think women are becoming more financially savvy, which is really exciting. And I think, we're craving that financial empowerment. We're craving feeling like we can, feel safe to bring in massive amounts of wealth. And also, we want to feel provided for, right? We want to experience the financial provision of a partner supporting us, taking care of us, not necessarily feeling like we have to support someone in that way. So there can be all kinds of dynamics that come up around men, money, how to have conversations around finances, wealth building, like where someone's at with their kind of financial portfolio. Like, how do you get a good sense for that early on in dating without just like asking those questions up front? There's like a lot that goes into it. And then, of course, as you get further into the relationship journey, how do you manage your money together? All of that stuff. So I think that women are craving conversations around money and like bringing some of these taboo topics to the forefront because they impact everyone. And an empowered woman is a woman who is not afraid of talking about any of these things, right? She instead is really willing to lean in and not just, again, learn more information, but expand her body's capacity to receive more of all of these good things. Emotional expression is another one. So I work with a lot of women who are on either side of the spectrum where maybe they can get really activated and lean a little bit more anxious and there's like a lot of emotional expression that can come up, or maybe on the flip side they're a little bit more guarded and reserved and it's a little bit more challenging to tune into their feelings and express them. So no matter where you are on that spectrum, I think emotional expression and being able to let men feel you, right, not just through your words but through your body and what your body is signaling to men, I think that that's something that women are really curious about. I know I've recently taught on like understanding the subconscious signals you're sending men, um, understanding feminine seduction skills. That's one of my favorite things to teach. And those things have always been of a lot of interest to my audience. So that tells me that you're kind of craving learning how to not just connect to men from an intellectual standpoint, knowing the right questions to ask and all of that, but instead how to create a felt sense in your body that lets him know you welcome him pursuing you, you are excited for him to come closer, all of that good stuff. Because a lot of times women are unknowingly sending the wrong signals to men, and then they wonder why they're not getting asked out again. Pleasure and aliveness. Oh, yes. So I think a lot of women are waking up to realizing, like, oh, I don't want to just go through the motions of my life. Like, I don't think that I've built the life I have just to feel that low grade anxiety all the time, or to constantly be kind of bracing myself for the next challenge or thing that is going to pop up. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel receptive. I want to feel open. And all of that ties right into everything we've been talking about here. And then the final thing that I think women are really craving beyond just like give me a dating tip and, really wanting a more holistic, whole woman perspective is how to raise standards without a hardness, right? Without being kind of crass and like pushing men away, or without having like hyper independence and being like, I'll just do it myself. I don't need anyone. Holding high standards, I think, can feel vulnerable for women because inherently it means if you are raising what you expect of other people, some people might not be able to meet you there, and that has to be okay. But also, there's a vulnerability in like what you expect of others, really, for you to be in integrity with that and be a match for it. Like, you better be leading yourself in the same way, right? So, there can be a lot of like energetic, emotional cleanup that has to happen where you might say, oh, I really have a standard of, I want men to be honest with me. I want men to be trustworthy. I want men to be kind. And then we get to ask ourselves, where do we have an opportunity to really double down on that in the way that we are showing up in our relationship to ourselves and in our interactions with men? So, when we think about like some of the ways that impact how men respond to us, it is through all of these themes that I'm speaking to. But just to kind of ground it down a little bit more practically, it's self-trust, right? The relationship you have with yourself is directly impacting how men are perceiving and responding to you. And that's really good news because while right now you might feel like you're kind of at the whim of what's happening on the dating apps or the city you're in or your age or your appearance or things that feel a little bit out of your control, when you understand it's like, oh, this is actually like men are mirrors and they are reflecting to me how I'm experiencing myself, then that means I actually can be empowered to shift that experience. Emotional availability, so that goes right into the subconscious signals I was talking about. Having this grounded confidence where you're not confident because you feel like you're the best out there, right? It's not this like conceited energy. It's just this like this understated sense of like, I know that I'm an amazing catch. I know that I have incredible value. I know that things that maybe I feel insecure around, or maybe have a little bit of shame or embarrassment, maybe around like how long I've been single or my relationship history or my health or a career transition or whatever, like I'm good with myself. Those things don't define me. So if I'm not overly identifying with those areas of my life that are maybe in transition or a work in progress, then men are going to pick up on that and they're not going to see it as an issue either. You being able to have this warmth without overfunctioning. So, emotional warmth is really just your ability to hold that frequency for yourself in your day to day life, right? Where being warm, open, friendly, feminine can feel performative or fake is when you don't actually feel like that in your daily life. And suddenly you've got to like turn that on when you're messaging with a guy or going on a date. But the way you show up on a date, the way you message men, it's always reflective of what is happening for you outside of that specific experience. So if you're taking immaculate care of yourself, if you have high standards, if you're really solid in your boundaries, if you love yourself, that is just going to naturally spill over in how you're connecting with men. However, if there's a lot of energy leaks and you're feeling kind of wobbly in other areas of your life, that's going to be picked up on even if you have the perfect texting script and you feel like you have your kind of first date persona that you click on. Like it's all about what's happening behind the scenes. And so when we clean that up, then the way men respond to you really shifts. Okay, so with all of this in mind, like this is kind of a little bit of backstory context around how I was envisioning up leveling the fifth year of the Irresistible Woman Activation Live, our 3-day in-person immersive coaching experience this fall in Denver. And I was like, you know what? I've always seen that this room creates life-changing breakthroughs. I mean, if you look at the event registration page, there are just oodles of women gushing about how impactful this weekend was, how it exceeded their expectations. It really blew them away. So like I know what we've done has always worked. And I'm just sensing collectively that we are all hungry for a little bit more, right? Like less just taking in information and more experiential opportunities, more opportunity for connection and sisterhood, more of just getting in our body, right? And so I'm really excited to share that this year's event now includes an expanded view of really a holistic take of like growth for the whole woman. So we are going to have I'm so excited. Some select speakers. Of course, I'm going to be leading the event, speaking to relationship patterns, dating blind spots, up-leveling your standards, and it's really going to be geared towards women across every area of the love journey. So whether you're currently single or partnered, it's going to be highly applicable to you. But we're also going to bring in some hand-picked speakers that are going to guide you through exercises around up-leveling your health, wealth creation, embodiment, personal style. And I'm so pumped for this because it's going to hit on every area that really impacts you. I don't want to leave any stone unturned. And this is going to be new this year. And I think that it's going to, again, give that really holistic, comprehensive approach at you walking away, not with more information, but really an embodied shift in how you perceive yourself. And then, of course, how men are responding to you. And if you've never been to an in-person coaching event, I have to tell you, it is truly life-changing. I remember the first time I went to an in-person coaching event, I was super nervous. I knew no one. I was like, am I going to fit in? Like, what's going to, like, am I going to be like made to do something weird? Like, I don't exactly know what's going to happen. But as soon as I walked in the room and I started talking to the other women there, I felt a sense of relief because it was like, oh, I've been craving this. I've been reading books on my own. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been doing courses and I've been kind of on an island trying to improve myself. And I was missing the most essential key ingredient, which is that you go much faster and further together. And this is not just like a fun little inspirational concept, it's actually science. So we know our nervous systems are constantly regulating and responding to our environment. So if we put ourselves in a new environment amongst other women who also see themselves as high level, capable, open, receptive, ready for growth, then we are suddenly starting to vibrate at the same frequency as them. And this is why in-person experiences truly create more growth in a weekend than a whole year of online passive learning. And this is also where there is potent medicine around the very skills that are needed for love. So in love, there is a level of visibility that you cannot escape, right? Like you must be seen to be chosen and cherished. You need healthy vulnerability to get your needs met. And when you step into a supportive, safe space of other women, this is where you can practice strengthening some of those skills, like being witnessed in community, being, reflected in how brilliant you are, helping other women, rise up together because you're not just in a silo. You're not on an island anymore. There is a collective energy and momentum that it's infectious. Like you can't not feel and be impacted by. And this is where you're like, oh my gosh, I was thinking so small before I got here. I was so closed off. I wasn't even aware of these new opportunities and ways of thinking and acting. But I'm hearing from other women in real time that I can relate to, and they are inspiring me. They are showing me what is possible. And it is just an experience like none other. Yes. And I also was reflecting on like, gosh, year 5 of this event and all of the breakthroughs that have happened in that time. I've seen women softening viscerally in their bodies after years of bracing and feeling, tight and wanting to control. I've seen women finally feel safe being seen and, open and available to receive without performing. I have seen women let go in real time of connections that were not serving them. I have seen partnered women come in and be like, oh my gosh, I thought my relationship was pretty good, but I am now being blown wide open to the possibility of how much better it can get. And it's just, it's incredible. There really is a line in the sand moment where you are so clear on what am I not returning home with? What beliefs, habits, patterns just are no longer a fit for the woman I'm becoming, the woman that I have touched into in this life experience. So, I could go on and on, but really, I'm like, you should probably just check out the event page to see for yourself how impactful and transformative this event is. But I did want to record a special episode today, officially inviting you in because I know I've been like dropping little teasers here or there, but we have now fully opened early bird registration. And the focus this year, again, is on growth as the whole woman and raising the standard for how men respond to you in just 3 days so that you no longer feel like you're at the whim of dating apps, where you live, your age, anything like that. And this is just going to be, it's so special. There is nothing like being in the room, truly. I know that it requires a few extra logistical pieces of travel and, taking time off and things like that. But I always say, like, the more you've got to go through to get somewhere, like, the bigger impact it's going to be, the more you're going to really take it seriously because anyone can buy a little course online and then have it collecting dust on their computer, right? Anyone can have some podcasts flagged that they want to listen to at some point. Anyone can have stacks of books piled up, waiting to be read. Maybe you have a little aha moment on this podcast or with something that you see on social media, but it doesn't stick, does it? And that's because we can have these little fleeting moments of insight and awareness, but we're still in our same environment. We're still operating from the same vantage point of our identity. But when we physically move ourselves into a different space, we have no choice but to up level, evolve, and step into the woman that we are ready to become, and therefore have the love life that matches it. So I would absolutely love to support you live in person, face to face, heart to heart at the Irresistible Woman Activation Live this fall. It is November 5 through 7 in Denver, Colorado. Check out the show notes for all of the details, the registration page, and everything else. I am really excited about the opportunity to deeply serve you and help you experience the magic of our global Irresistible Woman community this fall. So I hope to see you there, and I'll be back next week with a fresh episode. Until next time, I am sending you so much love. Keep shining your love light, and bye for now.